So, I am Dennis Lapel. I own and operate Lakestone Family Farm with 7 employees and my wife and children to some extent. We started our food journey probably about 15 years ago, my wife and I, when we started watching the documentaries on the way food is produced, and we didn't like what we saw, so we delved into it. We joined a CSA out in Long Island called the Golden Earthworm, and we were members there for 5 years. It was on a visit to the farm where it kind of planted the seed within me that this is something I might be able to do. So I'm a multi-enterprise small farm. That means we do lots of things other than just vegetables. I grow chickens for both meat and for eggs. I am also a distributor of Lakeview organic grain. And we plan to add more things to this lineup that I will be getting more to talking to you about shortly. And then we use several marketing channels on the farm, mostly direct. It's all direct marketing presently through CSA and farmers markets. Our market garden is currently 2 to 3 acres in size, depending on the season. We open some ground up and close some ground as well. We grow a wide variety of vegetables, mostly small plots. I could really use Tend to help me with that after seeing that presentation, that's for sure. With a lot of heirlooms, we like a lot of heirlooms, but the hybrids are sort of sneaking in on me. This is Camilla. Camilla is kind of like my best friend on the farm. He is my oldest rooster. He is 7 years old, and the day that Camilla arrived is the day that I moved to my farm full time. And so he and I are the longest residents of Lakestone Family Farm, and he's still a pleasure to see every single day. So that was April 2012. That's when we started. He is pasture raised along with all the hens that he services, as well as our meat chickens. We move our meat birds to fresh pasture daily. Our hens get fresh enclosed pastures every 30 days. We raise our meat birds in chicken tractors. You'll see a picture of them later, but that's not really the lion's share of what's going on today. We use the chickens as part of our vegetable operation to fertilize the ground that is fallow. So earlier when I said 2 to 3 acres, our fallow ground gets the chickens. We start all of our birds day olds. We brood them for 2 to 3 weeks indoors. And then we plan to go into a larger chicken operation where we'll be building a brooding house on the farm. We'll be able to accommodate a larger number of birds and move them through much more efficiently. Presently, it's in the basement of the farmhouse to keep the closest control that we can. One of our biggest advantages is that we live at our farm, we're there constantly, and we can keep an eye on the birds. The other thing to think about with the birds is loss. There's a lot of opportunities for loss with living animals, despite your best efforts. One year we moved 100 meat birds out from the basement to the pasture, and a tornado hit that night a mile down the road, took down 2 barns, and put 3 inches of water in the pasture. So as soon as the weather was safe enough to go outside and things stopped flying, we collected 25 of those birds that didn't survive the storm. The rest we took up in towels and dried off and brought back into the brooder, and had the ability to do that because we were right there. We raise these birds on pasture. The daily move is so critical. You can see, it's kind of hard to see in the picture, but if you see this line right here, you can see this is ground where the chickens have been. This is ground where chickens have not been. So sometimes people say, well, the chickens don't really eat the pasture. The proof is right there. Camilla really likes it too. He gets free range of the farm, so he gets to run around and eat whatever he wants. Like any quality product, inputs are super, super important. So we use a daily ration of organic, non-GMO grain from Lakeview Organic Grain. They source as much New York grown grain as they can. Our birds also get untreated well water, which is very high in minerals, which our pet dogs won't even drink our reverse osmosis water from the house. They'd rather have the water straight from the well with all the minerals in it. And a diverse quality pasture will increase the diversity of plants that the birds are taking in. thus making it more nutritious. Just like in our diet, we want to have more and more things to improve our quality, more vitamins, more nutrients. Let's see. So on-farm slaughter, we do all of our own slaughter. That's how we maintain our organic certification. There is not an organic slaughtering shop within a reasonable driving distance. So in order to maintain our organic certification, we got our processing shed certified organic. It's just that simple for us. We decided that we were going to do this from the beginning, and that's what we've done. We minimize the travel stress. We gather the birds when they're sleeping in the middle of the night. We put them in the crates. I move them 150 feet to our processing shed, and then when the staff comes in, we get going. We do it as humane as possible. Our people are very respectful of our animals. After all, we spent 6 to 8 weeks raising these birds in the best possible way we can to create the best possible chicken that we can. Organic, organic, organic. Did I say it again? Organic. So in the beginning, we had some trouble. There was a lot of whole birds at the farmers markets, and it was hard for us to move the chicken. So we decided to make a change there. Camilla, our rooster, also has some setbacks. He was attacked by a mink. So I went into the coop one night after they were closed in, and I had already lost 47 laying hens to this mink. It was like an ongoing problem, and when I went into the coop, the mink was actually feeding on Camilla's neck, and I was able to scare it off of him and save my rooster. Yeah, he's badass. He is badass. So another stress that we had on our farm, growing pains, not much like Camilla's, not as deadly, workers' comp. So like any other small business, workers' comp is a drain on my business because we have to pay an extremely high rate for the slaughter, but because our business is small, we cannot classify. So all of our employees get paid, I have to pay their workers' comp at the same rate. So high school kids picking beans, I pay the same $19.85 on 100 as I do for all my full-time staff who do the chicken with me. So that's a problem. So, and because people are seasonal part-time, finding actual labor, which all of you know is a real pain. So because the whole chickens weren't going so well, we decided to do some on-farm butchering. I learned how to cut up chickens into parts to increase the value of the birds. We sell our boneless breasts for $13 a pound. Our tenders go for $14 a pound. Even the bones I get $2 a pound for. Hearts and livers, $4 to $7 a pound. So all these parts that were going into the whole birds at $5.50 pound flat, everything gets elevated. I can take one bird, make $47 on it instead of $26 on it. It's a beautiful thing. Anything we have left over, we just go ahead and freeze. We sell it in the winter. We do over a dozen cuts. It's really cool. Then the next thing is the 1,000 bird limit. The type of slaughtering facility we have on our farm does not give us the ability to sell to places like the Good Food Collective. We have to direct market all of our animals. So 1,000 birds to the beginning producer seems like a lot, like it did to me 7 years ago. Now it's definitely a constraint. This is what brought us into the idea of Lakestone Organic Poultry and Processing, which is now an official LLC. We are in the process of seeking a New York State Article 5A poultry processing license. We plan to maintain our organic certification. So when we are processing, anybody who's raising their birds organically can safely get their birds processed, certified organic. It also is going to allow us the additional market channel of working with a food hub like the Good Food Collective, which Chris I've known since as long as I've been farming for 7 years. We've been back and forth on all sorts of things over the years, and I respect the relationship I have with the Good Food Collective. Therefore, I have not actually entered into a business relationship with the Good Food Collective yet until I know that I'm able to provide what they need. So we've started building from the ground up. We took our existing barn. We had some timber work done to it to repurpose it and get it into shape. It had a new roof, timber work, finding materials, purchasing materials. All of the 2x4s that I framed the walls with, I found in pallets. We did all of the plumbing ourselves. I even tied into the septic system for the bathroom and shower that we had that were required by law for the 5A. in addition to building a new driveway to service from the road to the barn, which is also a state requirement for the facility. It'll also give us the ability to process for others. So we can process, butcher, and package for local organic chicken farmers, which is a really nice thing if you want to raise organic chickens, or you'd like to market organic chickens, or maybe you don't want to market organic chickens. We can talk about that too. But we can buy chickens from local farmers. We can process and sell them to retail restaurants. That's what the protection we afforded ourselves by creating a separate LLC for our poultry processing facility. Now my farm, Lakestone Family Farm, can in turn sell my chickens to Lakestone Organic Poultry and Processing, and then Lakestone Organic Poultry and Processing can then sell them to the Good Food Collective. It's crazy, but these are the laws that we're living with.
Does that help you with your worker comp?
Yes, that's the good point. It helps me with my workers' comp because then all of my staff will be dual employed. They will work for Lakestone Organic Farm and Lakestone Organic Poultry and Processing, and then they will be paid separately at different rates. I will pay twice as much for my payroll accountant, but I think I will save about 70% on my workers' comp, which is a lot. I might actually make money farming. We are also building, as long as we're building, a 20C kitchen through Ag and Markets. It's going to give us the ability to do value-added products, create recipes, produce bone broth with unsold bones, and create frozen products that we can allow for some off-season marketing. So right now, Camilla's recently had another setback this past winter. He lost a couple of toes to frostbite, but he's still holding strong. We've hit some cost overruns for materials and some bureaucratic delays in building our processing shed. So we're $15,000 in, but $15,000 behind. And then we had construction scheduling challenges. Like, I'm a farmer, so once the warm weather finally broke, I had to stop building. So we plan to open in spring 2019, a full year behind schedule. So it is a work in progress. As you can see, this is our barn, and this is the new addition. And I took this picture 5 days ago, so that's exactly how it sits. But we are covered, so we are using that as our processing facility for this season. But we're still in our 1,000 bird limit, so all of the strict sanitation guidelines aren't enforced yet. Oh, too far. Multi-farm branding. So now this is where the opportunity is to work with other farmers. You can raise your own birds, bring them to me, and then I can sell them for you. It's that simple. It gives you an outlet for poultry product. So say something you want to do is you want to grow the poultry, but you don't necessarily think that you can move enough poultry to make it profitable. I can then take those birds and sell them for you, and make it a profitable venture for you as well. And that would be in addition to something like a contract poultry program, where I could even, because I distribute feed, I could set you up with everything you need to grow the poultry, except for housing and water, and obviously good pasture to put them on. So it is a new day for Lakestone, and it's a new day for Camilla because he's still with us. And that was all I had to say to you today.